After some relationship issues about a decade ago, I thought my wife and I were in pretty good shape relationship-wise. We chat, we laugh, we are friends, have similar views on many things, and generally fit well together. For me, the massive issue has been our physical relationship. My wife and I have been together for 23 years, and in the beginning our sex life was pretty great. As expected, the frequency and intensity faded a bit over time, but since we had our children, the decline was very steep. This bothered me, and we'd occasionally argue, something we do very rarely. I usually initiated sex and for the most part got rejected. Occasionally my wife would agree, and whilst I always thought she enjoyed herself, or was a good actor, she was not very active, and I often thought she was just throwing me a bone, so I'd leave her alone for a while. Before you come at me as some sort of monster always pestering my wife for sex, we are talking weeks and months between intimate moments. Don't get me wrong, I want to get physical more often. I'd be happy with once a week or even a couple of times a month, but I took what I could get. I love my wife and I desire her physically, but to be constantly rejected is soul-destroying and was making me feel dirty, and not in the good way for asking. Eventually, I decided that the next time we would have sex would be when my wife initiated it. That was 6 years ago! This has been growing increasingly heavy on my heart over the years. I've thrown myself into other things and generally kept a lid on it. My youngest turns 18 soon and finishes high school in a few months, and my intention was to hold on until then before considering my future in the relationship. All the time hoping for a miracle. What brought matters to a head was last week I reached round my wife for a cuddle in bed and my hand must have brushed too low for comfort, by accident and not even that close. And my wife practically pushed me out of the bed. A couple of days ago I brought it up, not an argument, just talking, and just asked if she ever intended to have sex with me again. She said no. When I asked her why, she said she felt like she didn't have any sex drive at all. I asked her if she wanted to have any sexual desire for me again, and again the answer was no. To be told, I don't want you, and what's more, I don't want to want you hurts. She says she is happy with our relationship as is, as friends and companions. I want more. I definitely don't want her to just lie back and let me have sex with her while she isn't getting any pleasure out of it. I want to be wanted. I want her to desire me as much as I want and desire her. I understand that sex drives can dip and even disappear for many reasons, but I don't understand why she doesn't want to see if her sex drive can be rekindled. I've told her I want more, but she told me that she's not willing to change things. I've been celibate and, to be fair to my wife, mostly happy with my lot for the last 6 years, but I'm desperate for a physical relationship with her and have told her this cannot continue. I've said that if we don't look into how she can recover her libido, not necessarily even be having sex by the time my youngest graduates high school, I don't want to disrupt her final year, then I'll look to start divorce proceedings. She just nodded. She seems to have chosen nothing over me, and I am broken. I think my wife hopes that I will simply let this slide and we can slip back into our comfortable coexistence, but I can't. I have contacted a therapist and will start this next week. I need to try and come to terms with this rejection and learn how to move on. The thought of dating in my 50s terrifies me, but do I deny myself and slip back into my comfortable but celibate half-life? Or do I risk it all in the hopes, however small, of something more? P.S. Please don't suggest an open relationship or having an affair. I only want my wife and won't do that to her. Snightnail commented, if your wife is unwilling to A, see a doctor to get her hormones checked. The problem could well be physical at her age. And B, go to a sex therapist with you, then there's not a lot you can do. She's told you that she doesn't want anything more than a housemate situation with you. It's a sad situation, but if your wife doesn't want to take the initiative and try to have a sexual relationship with you, and you can't live in a sexless marriage, there's no shame in calling it a day. If you're single for a while, you'll be no more lonely than you are now, and you might even find it preferable to your current situation. Having no sex because you're single is different to being rejected all the time in a relationship. Good luck with whatever you choose to do, though. I hope things work out for you and you end up feeling more happy and satisfied than you are right now. Nassau Spades responded, if you end up getting divorced because of the enforced celibacy, this is going to sound counterintuitive as hell, but don't have sex for at least a year afterwards. Or rather, don't get into a relationship for at least a year afterwards. Even though you've comty-WM-plated divorce, if it happens, your emotions are going to go on a year-long roller coaster ride. Wait until they have settled down and you get used to your new life. Many recently directed men rush into new relationships too fast, usually with the first woman who shows them any attention. The collateral damage is spread all over Reddit every day of the week. Also, You need to spend time reassuring your kids that you love them, and it is not their fault. You kinda have to wait until they are accepting of the situation too, before you can move on. Whatever you decide, I wish you the best. Kenya Handle It also said, how has your marriage been outside of sex? You mentioned 2 kids and a steep decline after they were born. What does your partnership look like outside of sex? Who has been managing the household responsibilities, kids' school schedules, chores, etc.? Has your wife been handling the mental load of the family for the past 21 years? Are you being affectionate and emotionally intimate with her, planning dates and quality time? If you're living a companionate marriage and she seems okay with it, then it sounds like there may be some underlying work that needs to be done to rebuild that intimacy without the pressure of sex. I find that sweeping generalization, so please don't come for me. Men tend to think that intimacy is built by just having sex. Men in these types of situations tend to be shocked when their female partners are checked out after they've spent years feeling neglected emotionally, which translates to the bedroom. All of the above factors, on top of hormonal, perimenopausal changes, should lead you towards the right path forward.